honey badger just takes what it wants. Did pretty good. All right, here we are. We got her stuck. Hello everyone. Today we are making a review for the AGT Industrial KRW23 wheel loader. These are also known as articulating loaders, end loaders, or pay loaders. However, I think the Chinese are calling them wheel loaders, so that's what we are calling them. Now you can see behind me that I have done quite a few things to mine to upgrade it and improve it. I've also put a few modifications onto it. We'll get into those in a minute. But overall, this unit stock was usable. It was practical. It was a good alternative to a $20,000 hydrostatic farm tractor or a $60,000 skid steer or a few $1,000 50-year-old loader tractor that you're going to have to work on just like you will have to work on these. So this is brand new. And I wanted to try it out. You couldn't beat the price. I got this one for $3,800, which was a steal because usually they're $5,500 to $6,500 on Facebook Marketplace. For the price point, you can definitely compete with the options I listed before: an old loader tractor, a new skid steer, or a hydrostatic tractor that costs $20,000. To clarify, stock, this machine is usable and it is pretty decent for what it is. There are a few things that I think you should do to it, but again, stock, this unit is a good machine, and you will get to see me use this unit as you would use a stock unit that you've just unloaded out of the container or one off of the auction lot. Basically, this unit is the same. I've just done a few things that everyone says you should do, like changing all of the fluids. I've changed the engine oil, the differential oil, and the transmission fluid. I haven't changed the hydraulic oil yet. I don't think that's too big of a deal because at the end of the day, it's just an oil that goes through a pump and goes into the cylinders. So I haven't changed the hydraulic oil, but I have done all of the other maintenance that everyone suggests. If you are going to buy one of these, change all of your fluids out. That's a must. Even if you're going to leave it stock and just run it the way it came, change all of your fluids. Let's go over this unit, see what I've done, and then we're going to do some work with it. I have put about 5.6 hours on this unit. It is still pretty close to new. I don't know how well this is going to hold up, but we will see. Another thing I did was label the shifters on this unit. This is your low range. So we've got forward gear and reverse gear. There is only one reverse gear. You do not have high reverse. So this is a two-stage transmission. We've got low range. This is what you're going to work in. And then these are your road gears. Note, you can only use one of these levers at a time, so you can't engage both of them at the same time or it won't move. One or the other has to be in neutral. So you can see now that I would be in forward working gear, reverse, neutral, and then that would be second road gear, that's top speed. And then that would be first road gear, that is medium speed. You typically want to travel in first road gear. And again, these are only forward gears. You do not have a high reverse gear. In a minute, you will see video of the road gears and how you're supposed to use those. Contrary to popular belief, they are actually pretty handy. If you're on a straightaway and something that's smooth, you can use them. Made a custom honey badger badge. I love it. It's pretty cool. I love that logo. One thing that I did have to do to this unit just to make it usable, and if yours has this issue, you'll want to do this too. If you're going to leave it stock, you'll at least want to do this. My loader would drop out of gear, so you'd be in forward, and then you would go into a dirt pile, and then all of that force would be sent back into the transmission as the gears start to work up against each other, and then it would pop out of gear. Another thing, you would be in forward, and then you would hit the throttle really hard. You wouldn't throttle it up slowly, you just floor it just to get a little more oomph, and then it would pop out of gear. So I actually had to put a helper spring down on the shifter arm just to help keep it in forward gear. Haven't had a problem since. I'll splice in some video of that now. I had an issue with mine coming out of forward gear in low range when I would go into a dirt pile or give it some unexpected throttle. So I actually drilled an 1/8 inch hole here and an 1/8 inch hole there, and attached a screen door spring to it just to give it a little more holdover. Works pretty well. I haven't had it pop out of gear yet, and I've done a decent amount of work with this. Now we're going to talk about the bucket. As you can see, it's heavily modified. I made this grapple for it. I used some actuators here. These were $750 total, $350 each, so that's super expensive, but I do have some video of me grabbing brush that I'll show here in a minute. Another thing I did was put a cutting edge on this. That's something I think you should do because the bucket comes with about 1/8 inch steel and it's just not going to last. So put a cutting edge on it at least. And then another thing you should do is put some 3" by 1/4 C-channel across the back here. Sometimes you'll see them with this curved inward because there's play in the pins. I can show you here. Yeah, there's some play in the pins. Sometimes this will get bound up and it can actually start bending the inside of the scoop out. Again, this is stuff that you can run stock, but it's just good to brace it up a little bit as I've done. At least I think you should put this piece of C-channel across the back just to give it more strength that way, and at least put on a cutting edge. I didn't use a hardened cutting edge. I just used a 1/2 inch piece of bar stock. That's about 3 inches long or 3 inches wide. And then I profiled the edge of it with a stone wheel and a grinder. And then I put these dog teeth on there just to help it cut. The reason I say these are a good alternative to a loader tractor or a skid steer or a hydrostatic loader tractor is because they have what I'm going to call primitive shuttle shift. So we've got forward, neutral, and reverse. So it is kind of like a shuttle shift on a case backhoe, but there is one extra step. So I am going forward, I dump the dirt, I clutch, shift it into reverse, and now I can spread the dirt. So with this, you're not working through an old shift pattern like on an old International or a John Deere or a Case tractor. It is forward and reverse. So even though it is not as quick and easy as a hydrostatic transmission or quick and easy as a shuttle shift on a $40,000 backhoe or a $20,000 backhoe, it is good enough. So you go forward, dump the dirt, clutch, pull it into reverse. Now you're spreading the dirt. It takes about 2 seconds longer to shift through the gears. That's really not a problem in my opinion. Wanted to video this. I've got the end of a tree and the end of a mulberry tree that I cut down over there. It's about 4 inches in diameter. I snagged it with the grapple, pulling this one as well. Cut down those trees right there, the tip of my finger, clearing out this fence row. It is lugging a little bit, but it ain't complaining, pulling all of this out. One thing to note, you gotta be careful in this tall grass because your clutch is right down there. You can get it wrapped in grass. Be careful with that. When I go into this, I put my scoop down and I kind of run down the grass, keep it from getting wrapped up in my clutch. Let's drag it out. We've been at it for a couple hours. It is hot as heck out here, and the engine hasn't stalled yet from heat, so that's good. You can see what we're dragging out. See if we can bring it all the way around. This is the terrain I'm in. Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger just takes what it wants. I love it. Absolutely love it. Got a little close to the brush pile there. It's lugging a little bit, but it's taking it. Doesn't seem to care. Grapple system works great. You can see all of that green. That's what I've been transporting out of that fence row. Did pretty good. Awesome. Honey Badger's doing great. Again, this is mostly stock. Aside from all of the mods that I've put on, it is functioning and running mechanically as a stock machine. All right, we're gonna do some dirt work now. I did a little bit of this before, but I wasn't able to do it justice because I was trying to hold the camera and run the machine at the same time. So now with two hands free, because I have a chest rig, I can show you how this actually does with some dirt, and you can see what I'm talking about. Here are some piles of dirt. We've got one there, and then that one over there is mixed with sand. We already did some scraping and grading. Hopefully some of that footage is usable. We're going to see how this unit does, kind of getting a run at it, and just scraping the bucket along the ground, going into the dirt pile, and then rolling it back. My grapple shouldn't cause any issues with that. That's how I designed it, so I wouldn't have to take that on and off all the time. Let's scoop this. All right, we've got our scoop adjusted. I've got a slight amount of down pressure. We're gonna move forward in low range, give it a little throttle. Yeah, that's a good scoop of dirt. The play in the pins makes the scoop rock back a little bit, but it is what it is. Let's take a look here. Yep, pretty decent scoop. Now in regards to spreading, let's see how this does spreading the dirt. So we've got a nice scoop. We can jiggle the scoop and spread it that way. You can see it's about 4 inches thick now. And then I can use my scoop this way, kind of use it as a box blade. That way really isn't that great. but I can use some down pressure and I can pull back and spread the dirt that way. So that's a pretty decent spread there. You'd have to give it a couple of passes, but you get the idea. Let's get another scoop. Oop, we stalled it. Takes a little bit of fine tuning. I had too much down pressure on there. There we go. It's about a half bucket. And as you operate this more, it's going to be a much better machine. Let's fill this little trench up here. Let's see if we can plane off what we kind of spread out. That's a decent amount of down pressure. And we were able to scoop it back up. Yeah, it did pretty good. I'll deposit it over here in this trench. Currently trying to find the old septic here at the house. That's why these trenches are here. Gotta wait to call Julie though before I do any deeper digging. I'm liking the manual transmission. It's kind of like shuttle shift, even though you have to clutch in between it. All right. Okay. Now this is partial dirt, partial sand. Let's scoop this up. And that's a pretty good scoop of dirt. Now you heard the engine bog a little bit when I ran into the pile, but pretty decent overall. Again, this is not going to be like a $20,000 tractor or a $60,000 skid steer. It's an affordable farm tractor that isn't 50 years old and doesn't cost $20,000. It'll work, it'll do the job. It has its quirks like anything. It's definitely not as refined as a $20,000 tractor, but these are anywhere from $3,500 to $5,500, so take your pick. This will get the job done and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Hard pushing here. Seems to take it like a champ. It's even got some weed cloth in it. Yeah, let's do another run here. Do a little ground scraping, pushing sand here. Yeah, I hit that embankment with dirt in it. That was all she wanted to do. There we go. Oh yeah. It's able to take that. Oh yeah. Yep. And that's roughly 4 or 5 gallon buckets, maybe 5 or 6. But it was able to push that. And that's dry, loose sand. You just got to learn it. It's going to be one of those things that as you learn the machine, you get better at it and you learn how to run it better. Doing pretty good. The AGT KRW23 honey badger's doing pretty good. You can see we got a decent amount spread. It's not perfect. A few more passes would make it perfect. There's a little bit of a lump there, but this is just a demonstration. We've got sand over here. We were able to push a pile that would weigh probably 300 or 400 pounds, roughly 5 or 6 5-gallon buckets, and that has dirt and weed cloth mixed into it. We've got some basic dirt over here. Was able to pull that and scoop it just fine. And then of course up here, you can see what it did with that. This is just basic dirt work. It's a basic loader tractor. If you're into heavy dirt work, get a skid steer. You know, buy a used skid steer for $7,500 and then it will work like a skid steer. You can't expect this to be a skid steer. You can do basic dirt work with it though, basic homestead work, basic farm work. All right, we've got a rubbish pile here. It's mixed with old T-posts, boards, rocks, stones, a whole bunch of crap in general. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah, that scooped that. You can see that it's about 70% dirt and 30% trash. Now sometimes it can be kind of hard to get this in gear. You can see how I have them marked. So what I've found is that sometimes you actually need to let up on the clutch a little bit, kind of like an old farm tractor. See, it went in if I let up on the clutch and just wiggled it a little bit. So it's not wanting to go in. Yeah, all I had to do was wiggle the clutch a little bit with my finger, and then that gives it enough tolerance or movement to get it to go into gear. Now you can just let up off of the clutch and it'll take off, but I like to give it a little bit of gas as I let off the clutch. You can see the terrain I'm working with here. It just rained. Up here isn't very muddy, but down over there is, and that's where we're gonna go. Now, these are advertised as 4-wheel drive, but they're actually 2-wheel. The differentials aren't locked. I drove through here the other day and it handled it just fine though. See the terrain. Now the difference in the throttle is because I'm kind of bouncing and it's making me hit the gas. So the engine is not throttling down like that. It's because, oh boy, we lost traction. Let's hit it in reverse, see what happens. Uh-oh. Yeah, so actually what has happened is I got on an unlevel ground and it made the wheel come up off of the ground, and the differentials aren't locked, so it's not actually 4-wheel drive. This is what I'm talking about. Let's try forward. Yeah. Okay. All right, here we are. We got her stuck. It is not as bad as it looks. It honestly just lost traction, so not a big deal. I've got it hooked up to my truck over there. Maybe you can see that. I can't really see what's on the screen, but it's right over there. So I'm just gonna put the truck in 4-wheel and creep forward. Like I said, it looks bad, but it's not that bad. Just needs a little help to get up out of the hole. So yeah, just tug on it and get it up out of the little ruts that I dug, and we'll be good to keep moving forward. Really had no business getting off in this, but I wanted to test its off-road capabilities. So in my book, it's still a 10 out of 10 little machine. You just can't get off into a swamp like this. And yeah, I ran it out of gas while I was trying to get it unstuck, so that's why that gas can is over there. And there we go. About 50 or 60 feet of ratchet straps and a choker. Little 4-wheel drive on the pickup truck, pulls her right out. Let's get back to the review. All right, we're out of the swamp.
got some gas flowing through the engine. It's not going to stall out. Put it in forward. I'm going to straighten my wheels. There we go. More swamp. It's going to keep our momentum. Oh yeah. Yep, we're in the clear now. So definitely terrain like that it doesn't like, but something like that is fine. Shift it into neutral. Gonna need a bath after this. Did pretty good. Handled getting stuck. Might be a good idea to put a 12-volt winch on it if you're gonna do stuff like that. Clutch is still in good shape, working as it should. Yeah. Getting bogged didn't hurt it too bad. Just to clarify, terrain like this thing's gonna be just fine on, but uneven, swampy terrain where one corner or the other can get up and then your two wheels lose traction, it's not gonna do good on. This right here though, it'll perform just fine. Semi-muddy, kind of grassy, a little slick, but if you know what you're doing, you can easily make your way out with one of these. Problem at all, that kind of terrain. Okay, now we're going to talk about the road gears. A lot of people say you don't have any business using these, but I disagree. It's very handy for long, smooth stretches of road. So this is a two-stage transmission. You have forward and reverse, low range. That's what this lever does. And then you have two forward gears, high range. High range 1, high range 2. High range 1 is about the gear that I like to travel on smooth roads on. Now you do have to give it a little gas while you take off. But this is about like any travel gear that a loader tractor would have. I'm cruising along at about 10 miles an hour. Reasonably controllable. No jerking of the steering wheel. So that's 10 miles an hour. And then this is only for flat surfaces and good roads. This is road gear number 2. You got to give it some gas as you take off. Yeah. Now I'm cruising along at about 15 miles an hour. Now when you go over bumps, like I'm going to go over on these railroad tracks, it can get a little sketchy, but don't turn your wheels. Don't give it any gas and just let it crawl over them. And when you get to flat ground, you can go full speed. I'm doing probably 15 or 20 miles an hour right now. So you drive this like an idiot, it's dangerous. But if you know what you're doing, see, I'm not turning too sharp. I'm not even giving it gas going around corners. And then on straightaways, then I can give it gas. See, puts off the gas. And this is in the second road gear. So a lot of people say you have no business running around in those gears. I disagree with that. It's actually pretty decent for what it is if you know how to use it. And then I'm going to shift back into low range first gear, low range forward. Now note, you cannot use both of these levers at the same time. To use one or the other, one of them has to be in neutral. So if you want to use high range, this one has to be in neutral. If you want to use low range, then high range has to be in neutral, as you can see.
That pretty much sums it up. You got to see this unit do some work. I put another 2 hours on it today. It's holding up pretty good. We'll see how it holds up in a matter of years or months. But for now, it's doing pretty good. These are definitely a good option for somebody that's just starting out like me and needs something to get the job done, but doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Yes, it could be more refined. Yes, it could be a lot nicer, but it's a $3,800 machine, and you can't beat the price point for what you get and what you can do with it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps you buy one of these with confidence. I really think this is the best bang for your buck over one of their mini skid steers like the CFG Industrials. This is easy to get onto. It has better tires, and it does about the same thing. So yeah, like this video, comment if you think I'm wrong, give me a like. Thanks for watching. Hit our little switches. I love it. Look at that. Honey Badger don't care. Honey Badger just takes what it wants.